Farmers and herders in Plateau State voice opinions on new livestock reform committee. Economic hardship forces visually impaired students at Gombe University to suspend studies. Medical researchers stress importance of self-testing to control HIV spread. And on the international scene, authorities find bomb-making materials in Trump shooting suspect's car. A very good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust Television. My name is Sagir Ibrahim. And now details. Farmers and herders in Plateau State have expressed their views on the newly inaugurated Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee. President Bola Tinubu inaugurated the committee on Wednesday at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, aiming to address the prolonged farmer-herder conflicts in the country. Trust TV's Ado Musa has more.
This is not about politics. This is about opportunity. This is about our nation.
Before the recent pronouncement by the Tinubu administration, several administrations in the past have tried to reform the livestock sector with little or no success. Initiatives such as rural policy, National Livestock Transformation Plan, Livestock Intervention Program, and ranching were experimented with to help mitigate farmer-herder clashes in Nigeria. Before the recent pronouncement by the Tinubu administration, several administrations in the past have tried to reform the livestock sector with little or no success. Initiatives such as rural policy, National Livestock Transformation Plan, Livestock Intervention Program, and ranching were experimented with to help mitigate farmer-herder clashes in Nigeria. Plateau State has been one of the hardest hit by this crisis, with both farmers and herders frequently accusing each other of atrocities, leading to significant loss of lives and properties. The leadership of the farming and herding communities in Plateau State have expressed their views on the President Tinubu's inauguration of the Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee.
It's a right thing in a right direction, because that is what we have been agitating for. And this thing is going to develop the livestock industry in Nigeria, and the objective of which include employment opportunities, improvement in meat supply.
Honestly, for those of us that have been following the trend of events for decades, that has to do with the problem of herders farmers clashes. When we had the committee has been set up, we welcome it. It's a very good step, but you cannot say exactly whether the committee is going to do what is expected of it, because committees or policies are set up with documents, and when I go through the documents and I see the documents, I will be in the better position to say yes.
Agriculture and livestock experts have expressed their views on the inauguration of the Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee, highlighting its significance for resolving farmer-herder conflicts.
The livestock industry have been neglected long time. First and foremost, you know, the herders are also farmers, especially the sedentary herders we have. We have always interdependent. Some come to your farm and graze and settle and leave to another for you to have manure, which is very, very much in use those days when the chemical fertilizer was not around. But I'm believing that with this ministry, so many farmers will also engage themselves in production of forage, which is feeding the animals, which is also a lucrative one.
We are in a country of one citizen. There are a lot of people, a lot of other organizations that have been enjoying government support. But if you look at the livestock industry, apart from the vaccine production that the National Veterinary Research Institute produces and then being subsidized to the livestock farmers. There's nothing, there's no.
Apologies for that. We'll bring the rest of that story in subsequent bulletins. And residents of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, have appealed to the federal government to incorporate the resettlement of internally displaced persons in the state in the new livestock ministry. They made the appeal amid reactions that they have been trailing the decision of the federal government to create the Ministry of Livestock to, among other things, address the farmer-herder crisis in the country. From Makurdi, Jimmy Adzande reports.
Some of the residents are welcoming the move, though with some reservations because of the urgency they need to settle displaced persons.
Of the fundamental right of every citizen as regards freedom of movement. So it's a step in the right direction, but we expect more proactive steps towards dealing with the issues of farmer-herders conflict.
In addition to the government-determined focus of the ministry, all the residents want both crop farming and animal rearing to be considered as private businesses as obtained in other nations.
In other countries like Brazil, they rear cattle more than our country Nigeria, but we've never been getting this kind of problems because there are some people who their own work is to rear bush, and cattle rearers go to them, get this bush commercially and feed their livestock. Here in Nigeria, you can still go for this.
They also want the new ministry's tax to include addressing issues around IDPs and government reserve areas.
The government is going to create a ministry for livestock and possibly branches. It should be places where there are reserves. Because I have not much where that we have reserve areas in Nigeria. So those places can be used for such ranches.
There are already affected or people who are already victimized by the herdsmen, and the government has been their side, especially the federal government. There are a lot of people who are displaced for quite a number of years. The government has no solution to offer for them, or can I say no compensation to offer towards those people.
To the victims, whatever will bring an end to their predicament is welcomed, as many have lost touch with their ancestral homes for close to a decade because of the farmer-herder crisis in Benue State. Jimmy Adzande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
And the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, stated that the recent suicide bomb attack in Gwoza local government will not derail his administration's efforts to resettle displaced persons returning to Maiduguri after a month-long vacation abroad. Zulum described the attacks as unfortunate, particularly as the state is seeing an increase in Boko Haram surrenders. He pledged to invest more in agriculture to combat food insecurity and partner with the federal government to ensure food production in Borno State. Zulum also commended the federal government's support for a successful Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca.
Very unfortunate for what has happened in Bola. At this very important time when we are celebrating the exit of Boko Haram insurgency in Borno State, we witness the series of bomb attacks, especially in Bola. And I believe it's an act of sabotage at this time because we are looking forward to seeing how we shall resettle people back to their communities. And I think some don't like the resettlement agenda of Borno State. And I want to appeal to the people of Bola that they should remain calm, law-abiding, and partner with the federal government and state government with a view to ensuring that IDPs are resettled back to their communities. Government from here up to the end of my administration will concentrate on planning, expand area to the continent and ensure that there is increased food production in the state. Government will provide seeds to farmers and then will partner with the federal government of Nigeria with the view to ensuring food security and food sustainability in the state.
Visually impaired students at Gombe State University have voiced their concerns about withdrawing from the institution due to economic hardship. The Visually Impaired Students Association reported that many members are unable to register for the current academic session. They urged the state government to implement subsidized or free higher education policies for them. Hassan Koli brings details.
Visually impaired students are facing significant challenges in higher education. Arafat, a 300-level student at Gombe State University, had to withdraw last year due to an inability to pay his school fees.
In my previous session, I'm in 200 level. So I'm not registered on time. So due to this late registration, so the school withdraw me due to my late registration until I follow each and every level before I rectify the issue of this self-withdrawal. So my urging to Gombe State elite, more especially big business tycoons here in Gombe State, our lecturers, and so forth and so on. So we want to let them know that we need their assistance here in the university.
Despite pulling all available resources to continue their education, Haruna and his colleagues face numerous challenges.
No one likes begging. We don't want to go to street and beg. That's why we used to force ourselves to go and study. As Englishman say, education is power. Anyone who plan on it will be anywhere. So if you will be educated, you know, and everyone will love you. So that's why we force ourselves to see that we become educated. And among us, we used to have first class, second class, second class upper, second class lower, among other level of, degree. So we need, help. We need assistance from wealthy individuals.
Free or subsidized tertiary education will greatly encourage visually impaired students and other people with disabilities to further their education.
Our situation is so critical. We have a lot of schools or a lot of states. They are visually impaired or they are people living with disability. They were acquired their own knowledge free without any pain. For instance, Bauchi State, Yobe State, and Kano State. All of these states, they acquire their own study free without any problems. As well as you are a physically challenged, you cannot keep yourself without education. So we call for the governor of Gombe State, Alhaji Muhammad Inwa Yahaya, to implement a special policy for the special student in order to give us opportunity to study free, both primary, secondary, and tertiary levels.
According to the Nigerian Optometric Association, nearly 7 million Nigerians are blind, and nearly 50 million people have some form of visual disability or another, limiting their ability to work, learn, or play. From Gombe, Hassan Koli, reporting for Trust TV.
In a major healthcare initiative, more than 810 patients from across Jigawa State underwent surgery at Dutse General Hospital. Nurse Ishao Dahiru, overseeing the theatre, announced this on Saturday, July 13th, 2024. Patients from all 27 local government areas benefited from the free surgical services, with particular focus on Dutse and Kiawa local government areas. Dahiru stressed the importance of prompt medical attention, urging the public to seek help at hospitals for any health concerns. Dr. Fatima Shehu, a medical officer, highlighted the detection of hypertension among elderly patients and praised the Ministry of Local Government for their dedication to providing humanitarian services statewide. Grateful patients expressed joy and appreciation for the surgeries, echoing support for Governor Malam Umar Namadi's 12-point agenda focused on human capital development and citizens' welfare.
People knows me as Emir in Kiawa local government. I was born in Kiawa and brought up. They did operation of hernia and to me, and thank God everything is normal now. I enter operation room and come out normal. I thank the ministry that take care of this exercise. I thank God that I have been admitted and did the surgery and all is well now. I thank the Ministry for Local Government for the sponsorship.
Yes, the only advice I can give to patients is that people should be coming to the hospital at the right time whenever they detect or they realize that they are having one problem or the other. Because most of the patients, if they came, sometimes you realize that they have so multiple problems, not only the hernia case.
Throughout the weekend, we perform surgeries, minor surgeries like hydrocelectomy, hydrocephalus, hydrotomy, and coma excision on 60 different patients, ranging from different age groups. So during the screening processes, what we encountered was among the elderly, most of these patients have cancer, but they are not aware of their condition. So we have few that are diabetic also because of lack of medical checkup. It was also an incidental finding.
Living with an incurable disease can be managed effectively over a long period if individuals take proactive steps such as undergoing testing to determine appropriate medications and management strategies. Nigerian researchers highlight the importance of testing, particularly for diseases like HIV, which are prevalent among young people and can significantly impact longevity. Victoria Tokolo reports on HIV self-testing after speaking with medical researchers. Her report is presented from our studios.
Medical researchers warn that youth aged 14 to 24 in Nigeria are at increased risk of new HIV infections, but lack access to necessary prevention services. Essential services like pre-exposure prophylaxis HIV self-testing, STI testing, and youth-friendly clinical services are not widely available across the country. In response, the Nigeria Institute of Medical Research has developed strategies to improve the uptake of essential HIV prevention services among young people. Professor Babatunde Salako, Director General of NIMR, discussed these efforts in an interview with Trust Television, detailing the measures taken by medical researchers to combat the spread of HIV.
We are also certified by WHO for what we call pre-qualification for kit testing. So if you bring a new kit or a new diagnostic device to Nigeria today and you want WHO to recognize it, it is NIMR lab that will do that test and provide that report for the WHO before that kit is registered by the WHO.
Medical researchers report an increase in HIV self-testing among young people in Nigeria. However, they emphasize the need for better and sustainable solutions, as some individuals have expressed concerns about this self-testing method.
So HIV self-testing is all about people becoming aware. You can go to a pharmacy, the way people pick pregnancy test, the way people pick a urine test, you pick it, buy it yourself, and go to your home, comfort of home, and do the test. So that one HIV self-testing, so that issue of stigma is no longer there.
We found that if you actually call young people and tell them to design a program, right, where you roll out HIV self-testing, will they come? Would young people even care to know their status? When we started, maybe about 20% of youth, hadn't even heard about it, have even tested with HIV self-testing. After we continued across 5 years, you can see that our numbers went up to 90%, which means young people care about their health if you only but give them opportunities.
In discussions about HIV self-testing, many citizens advise young Nigerians to embrace this method to know their HIV status and maintain open communications with doctors.
It's a good idea, but people going out there and do the test by themselves, because the stigma in one having that HIV is a very big problem, mentally and otherwise. So it's a good idea if one can go and do that test by himself and have it confidentially with his medical doctor, then it will be a bit safe for you.
If I'm able to test myself and discover my HIV status, it's possible for me, it's okay for me to go to my doctor and explain to him this what I discovered about my HIV status, and go to counsel me and give me the appropriate drugs. But if I'm hiding I cannot expose myself, you will not be treated and you will not be okay, and it will be dangerous to your life.
Medical researchers emphasize that there is currently no effective vaccine for HIV. While research is ongoing, it will take many years before an HIV vaccine becomes available. They encourage everyone to get tested and know their HIV status, stressing that an HIV diagnosis is not a death sentence.
This is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. Health experts encourage consumption of nutritious and healthy vegetables amid limited options in circulation. These and other stories when we return. Stay with us. Thanks indeed for staying with the news update on Trust TV. Now recap of the headlines. Farmers and herders in Plateau State voice opinions on new livestock reform committee. And economic hardship forces visually impaired students at Gombe University to suspend studies. Moving on now, seasonal vegetables like cucumbers and golden melons offer various health benefits, including reducing inflammation and providing prophylactic and therapeutic effects. Nutritionists recommend consuming these vegetables with their peels and seeds for maximum health benefits. Victoria Tokolo has more in this report following an interview with a health dietitian. Her report is here presented.
Vegetable foods provide extensive health benefits that support overall well-being. Nutritionists emphasize that vegetables like cucumbers and golden melons offer maximum benefits when consumed in their natural states. Dietitian Olajumoke Jones highlights the importance of eating these vegetables with their peels intact, as modern food processing and preservation methods can reduce their medicinal values.
Cucumbers help in losing weight because, like I said, it's 95% water, contains 95% water, and is low in calories. Same with your golden melon. A cup of that golden melon has almost 10 to 15 grams of carbohydrates actually. Right? It also has its own natural sugars, alright, the peels. So ideally, when we are taking our fruits like cucumbers and golden melon, we're not supposed to make the peels straight, okay, because they have the fiber content of these fruits, right? But why people tend to remove the peels? Because most of these fruits now, most farmers spray pesticides on them to preserve it. Okay, so and to reduce the risk of being exposed to this pesticide, patients or people tend to remove the peel. So it now boils down to preference. Alright, so but ideally you're not supposed to remove the peels of your cucumbers and your golden melon.
Buyers and sellers of cucumbers and golden melons lament the high cost of these vegetables, attributing the cost increase to the long distance traveled to procure them.
I bought 2 for 5 euros. Very, very on this value. You buy 3, you can buy like 5 for 500. That means 1 for 100. Because of the increase in price of everything, now I'm just buying those 2 for 500. I even have to beg this man if I can sell it for me 500. So the thing is very, very expensive. Not like 4. It's too expensive.
We dey sell cucumber 500, 400.
About Godumilo, 500, 600, 300, 400. Now, in different, any price.
Nutritionists advise consuming vegetables like cucumber and golden melons as close to their natural state as possible directly from the farm to retain their nutritional benefits.
And to stories outside the shores of Nigeria, authorities have discovered bomb-making materials in the car of Thomas Matthew Crooks, the suspected assailant in the attempted assassination of former U.S. President Donald Trump. The incident occurred during a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Reports indicate that the motive behind the attack remains unclear. Trump's right ear was grazed by a bullet during the shooting, but his campaign team assured that he is in good condition. The suspected gunman and a bystander were killed, while 2 others sustained injuries. In his second post on the Truth Social platform since the attack, Trump called for unity among Americans. He expressed readiness to address the Republican National Convention starting in Wisconsin on Monday. And with that, we wrap up the news update at this hour. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social platforms and catch our live stream on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. My name is Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching. Join us again.